Hey guys, this is Social Fire, and I'm finally doing my Dragon Ball Super Broly movie reaction. So I'm gonna start off by saying there are going to be a few spoilers here, so if you have not seen the movie, you may not want to watch it, and I'm totally not offended if you don't, because I know some people may still be waiting to see it, and I would hate to ruin anything. So again, if you haven't seen it and don't want anything ruined, yeah, don't watch, because there's going to be spoilers. So again, I just kind of wanted to give my reaction here. I was supposed to watch it on opening night, and long story short, I was pretty sick earlier that month, some of you may have known, and didn't get to go that night, even though I booked my tickets like months ago. So luckily the theater here, they do vouchers and stuff, and I was able to still use my ticket and see it recently. So I just kind of wanted to talk about some of the stuff that I noticed about it, just give some of my highlights and things that I really loved about the movie. So yeah, let's do this. You guys may know that Broly is my favorite villain in the franchise, and I was a huge fan of the old school Broly movie. So when I heard about all of this coming up several months ago, I was pretty skeptical. I wasn't sure what they were going to do with it. I wasn't sure if it was going to live up to it, you know. I mean, I knew it was going to be good, don't get me wrong, but you guys know how it is. When something's redone like that, you're always like, I don't know. So I will say this, it exceeded my expectations. It was amazing, and it made me love Broly all over again for totally different reasons, which says a lot about a movie, I feel like. So right off the bat, I mean, I love just the introductions and the way they're setting the scene for everything. You see King Vegeta meeting Frieza, and you really see the disdain there. And they do a great job of really setting up the story between the Saiyans and the Frieza clan, King Cold, everybody, without going into like all this backstory in detail. They do a great job of just setting that, giving you enough knowledge there if you hadn't, watched some of the old school stuff, or if you had, just kind of going over some of that there. And I love Bardock's part too. I love Bardock in general, and I really loved seeing his part, and then especially Goku's mom, what was it, Jine? Loved seeing her too, and really enjoyed seeing them interact, and you see this kind of like softer side of Bardock there. That was great. And then when they were interacting with Goku, oh my gosh, I almost cried. Like, I was tearing up a little bit when they had to send away. Like, that kind of got to me, and I knew that was coming because you see that in the trailer, so it wasn't like a surprise. But watching it and seeing the emotion there, it tugged at my heartstrings. And yeah, I was definitely tearing up a little bit, which I loved. I mean, another great thing about the movie there. So, I mean, I was kind of surprised about some of the random little cameos too. Like, you briefly see Nappa. I think you even see Avo and Cabo, like, briefly. And it's so cool that you have all these little things like that. And there's a ton of stuff I haven't even noticed. Like, I'm seeing people talk about it afterwards, and I'm like, oh my god, you're right. I could literally watch this like 2 or 3 times over and see just tiny little details that I missed before. I mean, there's so many things that you may or may not even notice the first time around, especially if you've been a longtime fan. I mean, I loved each of the characters too. I mean, Beerus was hilarious. The little brief part that we saw of him, this god of destruction, and he's babysitting Bully. He's like, I'm not a babysitter, but I mean, you know he enjoyed it. He was just dealing with Bolo there while they're off doing their thing. Goku and Vegeta were great too. Goku, of course, he had his funny moments, and he was typical lovable Goku. It was funny though when he wanted the Dragon Balls. He's like, give me the Dragon Balls, and he was acting all tough, and you see the nose flaring. It was hilarious. Goku is hilarious. I love him. Vegeta though, you guys know I'm a huge fan of Trunks, but I also love Vegeta. I'm a huge fan of Vegeta as well, and he had a great part in this movie. So he was much more confident going into the fights, which was a welcome change. He definitely had a completely different demeanor than the old movie. And I really just loved his interactions and his fights. He was just very badass, very confident, very cocky, just all the reasons I love him, and he looked amazing. Really, it was just probably one of my favorite parts, just seeing him on screen. I also love the 2 new characters too, Limo and Chile. They were so good. I've seen everybody talking about them, but once you watch it, you're like, yeah, they are just so incredibly lovable. Like, I loved them. Like, they seem like those type you really want to hang out with that are just so cool. I mean, Sheila, she's spunky and feisty and kind of reminds me of Bulma in a way. I love Bulma. I love Bulma, and she kind of reminds me of that a little bit. She has a great heart, kind of streetwise type feel, and then Limo, he's just super cool and laid back, and he is just a good guy, and just kind of has that weathered older thing going on, and I really loved his part as well. He was probably one of my favorite characters, just personally. There were so many good things about it. I mean, Bulma didn't really have that many interactions. I mean, the little bits that I saw of her, I loved her and Frieza talking about the wishes was kind of hilarious. Bulma would wish for that, of course, and hearing her part, and then when you go to Frieza and he's talking about his wish, he's talking about his wish out of all the things you can get for the Dragon Balls was to grow like, what, 5 inches taller? And they're like, why not this much taller? No, because anything taller than that would be noticeable. I want them to think I'm still growing. And it's such a funny wish, but the way he talks about it is so like maniacal, and like he talks about it so serious. Like you would think he was talking about completely destroying the universe type thing. I mean, he just had that feeling. It was hilarious, and I really loved it. That part was great. Like, this movie made me laugh at times. It made me tear up a little bit. I mean, it had me on the edge of my seat. This theater I was in had reclining seats, which was so cool, and that lasted for about 5 minutes, because the rest of the movie I was literally up on the edge of my seat, because I just was really reliving my childhood in a way. It's kind of like when you remember seeing these scenes or some of the movies back then and how amazing it seemed, like just how much you loved it back then, and watching it today, I was just in that moment the whole time. I was just really just enjoying it. There were no parts that were too slow for me. I was just like taking it all in and geeking out like hardcore. I was geeking out so hard the whole time. It was another thing that I really loved about this movie. So now getting into it with BROLY, because this is BROLY's movie, I was very happy with it. They changed a lot about it. The whole backstory is different, completely different, but I loved it. I didn't mind that. I mean, the whole interaction between Paragus and BROLY was different and still very good. It worked well. They just completely changed him, because I loved old school BROLY because he's like a brawler. Like, he is just ruthless and just intense and just basically doing things to cause hell for the, you know, like, and the reasons he hated Goku in that movie, the old school one, were completely different reasons, because, you know, the crying and everything, and just how he remembered that with Goku and stuff. This time around, though, it's just mainly he's being forced to fight. Like, this is what he knows and what his dad's raised him on vengeance, and it's just a whole new backstory, and they really add layers and depth to BROLY, which made me love him. Like, it made me love the whole thing, and it made me very sympathetic to him. I was like, wow, like, before I just loved him because he was badass, and he had these amazing, like, intense one-liners. He had some intense quotes in the old school BROLY movie, just really crazy things. But this one, I was so sympathetic. Like, I was feeling for him, and that's great. That's a good thing when a movie can make you do that, because he's technically supposed to be the villain here, and they really make you sympathetic. Like, you don't want to see him die. That's a good thing to do with these. So I really loved that too, and I loved his interactions. I loved seeing, like, where he was checking out, like, the candy bar food type thing, and then when he was talking about, like, his loincloth or whatever it's called. And little things like that just, again, really added to the character and just brought this whole new level to it for me, which I loved. So moving on from that, though, the fight scenes were really amazing. I will say this, visually, they were just so good, and it kind of pushed me right to my limit, because if it had kept going on too much longer, I probably would have left the theater with a massive headache. Not that I would have minded. I would have still been super excited and pumped, but it was intense visually, especially when Gogeta comes in and Gogeta and Broly are going at it. It's just so much to take in, and amazing visuals and such. And like I said, they literally pushed me right to my limit, which was good. I didn't have to take any ibuprofen after that, so it was perfect. And like I said, I was just on the edge of my seat just watching, and like I didn't want to see. Every time Broly was getting his ass kicked, I was like, no. I was feeling bad for him. Because like I said, they make him really likable and lovable, and you just feel for him. I wouldn't say they don't make him lovable, but you know what I mean. They like make him very sympathetic. That's all I could say. Now Gogeta himself was incredible. I knew that was coming, obviously, but he was just amazing. I love seeing Piccolo's brief, part there, and when he was teaching them the fusion dance, and then Deku's brief cameo, and I knew that was coming. I'm like, what? I know that he's gonna miss the finger, and sure enough, and then we give Deku. I was laughing pretty hard there, but when you finally see Gogeta, it was just this moment of, oh god, it was good. It was so good. And from there on out, he's got that kind of cocky thing with, it was really kind of went back and forth. You had like Goku's kind of respectful manner, and then Vegeta's cockiness, and it was just like bits and you kept seeing there, and it was great. And then hearing him actually say his name was pretty amazing too. So that whole part, really everything lived up, surpassed the hype for me. Like I said, the fight scenes were really amazing, and just the interactions, everything was just so good. So good. I mean, when I left the theater, I was just pumped on that high you get when you watch a good movie. And I was so glad that it gave me that. There were really just so many good moments in it. I don't even know what my favorite scene is, really. Like, not that it's my favorite scene, but there were so many scenes that were just incredible. Like, seeing Goku get beat down so hard was crazy, like so early on. That was definitely not my favorite scene. That was just one of those scenes I was like, oh my god. Loved seeing Vegeta go Super Saiyan God for the first time on screen. That was definitely up there. I love Vegeta, and when I knew it was coming because you see the trailer, but when it happened, oh my god, it was so good, so good. And you know what? If I had to pick a favorite moment, I can't. You guys know me. I can't ever pick like one favorite, but one of my favorite moments was actually right at the end of the film where Goku says, "You can call me Kakarot." That's the first time I remember him really referring to himself by his Saiyan name, and that was pretty incredible for some reason to me. Just that moment. I don't know if it's like him kind of giving a nod to the Saiyan heritage, or is it a nod to like the old school movie with that little interaction with Broly? I don't know quite what it was, but something about that, I just loved that scene, and it was, like I said, amazing. Really, overall, this movie far exceeded the hype, and it taught me not to be skeptical, because they really did a great job with this, and Broly's still my favorite. They gave me whole new reasons to love him and the movie and just the storyline, and there's so many things left open. I can really see why they are bringing Dragon Ball Super back. I know it was like, March or sometime soon. They were talking about new episodes coming up, so I'm really excited to see the direction that this goes. Like, what will Broly's interaction be? What will Frieza be doing? Because we all know he's going to be planning crazy stuff. Just where the characters are going to go from here. I'm really interested to see that and see more Chile and Limo. All these things I'm really looking forward to. And I will say I have a whole new appreciation for the super attacks in Dokkan now with these movie units. We only have the free-to-play right now, but I know I'd posted the super attacks for Gogeta Blue and Broly on JP a while back, and rewatching that stuff, I'm like, oh my god, they're even better once I've seen the movie. Like, I just love them that much more now. So, anyways, guys, I am super excited this is coming to Global. I'm going to wrap it up here. This is getting pretty long. But yeah, guys, we have it coming soon in like a week and a half or two. We will be getting them on Global, and finally get to summon, so I'm definitely looking forward to that, guys. This movie was amazing though, so if you haven't seen it, or if you've seen it once, go watch it and watch it again, because I mean right now it's 100 million, it's grossed like 100 million worldwide or something. It's insane. It's insane that anime is making this much money, and I love that. So yeah, guys, watch the movie again and let me know in the comments what your favorite scenes were for the movie, or what you loved most about it, or if there's stuff that you didn't like, or even Easter eggs that you noticed. Just give me your idea, guys, in the comments, what you loved about it. If you have not already, be sure to like and subscribe, guys, and I will catch you all next time.